Hello, Gaudi, and welcome to your reading comprehension lesson today. It's Friday and it's the weekend. Woohoo! Right, here we go. Last weekend, we started answering questions about the book, The Man on the Moon, Bob the Man on the Moon. We left Bob tidying up at the moon. Let's find out to see what happens next. Here we go. We'll do this as we did before. I'll read the passage to you and we'll look at the questions together. We will answer them together, so you can always pause the video when we're answering the questions, and I'll also give you time to read it yourself so you can find the answers too. Here we go. By 12:30, that wasn't very great. Let's try again. By 12:30, it's time to eat. Bob goes to his rocket ship to fetch his lunchbox. This usually contains 2 sandwiches, either cheese or peanut butter, an apple, and some chocolate-covered nuts. So at what time does Bob have his lunch? What time does Bob have his lunch? So the key idea is that he's having lunch. Where are we going to find this? So at the time, it also says time. What time? So we're looking for a time. And if we go back to the top, you can pause the video here if you'd like to have a go yourself. If not, then you may continue to listen, and I'm going to change the colour of the pen over here. And we'll make it green. Here we go. So, what time does Bob have his lunch? And if I go back and read it again, by 12:30, it's time to eat lunch. Bob goes to his rocket ship to fetch his lunch box. This usually contains 2 sandwiches, either cheese or peanut butter, an apple, and some chocolate-covered nuts. The only time that we can see is 12:30. Shall we check if that's right? There we go, 12:30. Well done. Our next question is, which of these does Bob not have for lunch? So he does not have this for lunch. And our choices are A, a cheese sandwich, B, peanut butter sandwich, C, banana, and D, nuts. There are 4 choices. And remember, what does the question say? Which of these does Bob not have for lunch? So he doesn't have these for lunch. I'm going to go back up and look in this part and read it again. If you'd like to attempt this yourself, you can. You can pause the video here, and on your whiteboard you can write down the option that Bob does not have. If you'd like a little bit of help on where to find the answer, you can carry on watching. So which one of these does Bob not have for lunch? Let's go back and read. This usually contains 2 sandwiches, either cheese or peanut. So he might have a cheese sandwich, or he might have a peanut. So he might have a cheese and he might have a peanut butter. So those are not the answers. We can cross those off. They are not the answers. He has an apple. Does he have an apple? Oh, apple's not there. And he has some nuts. And he eats nuts. Oh, there we go, right at the bottom. Does he eat a banana? Did we spot the word banana in the text at the top? He has 2 sandwiches, either cheese or peanut butter, an apple, and some chocolate-covered nuts. No, he does not eat a banana, so that's our correct answer. He does not eat a banana. Should we check? There we go. He has an apple instead. Well done, Gaudi. Let's move on. Sometimes he meets his friends for a picnic. His 2 best friends are Billy, the man on Mars, and Sam, the man on Saturn. They talk about stars and tell jokes. So our first question is, which word tells you that Bob does not meet his friends every day? So he doesn't meet them every day, and we can use part of the question to help us answer. We could use part of the question to help us answer what it's asking us. So he does not meet them every day. And if we look for the word meet, that means possibly our answer will be around in the first sentence. Sometimes he meets his friends for a picnic. Okay, let's choose the word picnic. Does this mean you don't meet your friends every day? I don't think so. So a picnic is some food that you take and you might eat it in your house if it's raining outside. You might have a little blanket on the carpet and some food, or you could go to the park. So it's not picnic. Does friends mean that he doesn't meet them every day? No. Let's go back and read the first line. Sometimes he meets his friends for a picnic. What is the word that we're looking for? I'm changing the colour of the pen. Sometimes. So this word is the word that tells you that he doesn't meet his friends every day. Sometimes. Because I know sometimes some of you pick a word and you don't think about what the word means. Let's go. What two things do the friends do when they meet? If you'd like to answer this now on your board, you can pause the video. Okay. What two things do the friends do when they meet? So when they meet, what do they do? There we go. They talk about the stars and they tell jokes. So they're the two activities, two things that they do. Are we right? Talk about the stars and tell jokes. After lunch, tourist spaceships start arriving from Earth. It is part of Bob's job to entertain them and give them something to photograph. Our first question is, where do the visitors come from? If you'd like to have a go at this by yourself, pause the video here. Right, where do the visitors come from? Now, if I'm looking for the word visitor, I'm searching the text. After lunch, tourist spaceships start arriving from Earth. It is part of Bob's job to entertain them and give them something to photograph. Now, I haven't spotted the word visitors in the text, but I do remember that we had a lesson with Mrs. Cabela and we talked about some of the vocabulary. Can you pause the video and turn to your teddy? Can you think of another word for visitor that is in our text here? That's right, tourist. And a tourist is a person who's going to visit, which you've had in your vocabulary. So the question is, where do the visitors come from? After lunch, the tourist spaceships start arriving, that means you're coming, from Earth. And the answer is Earth. Second question. What mode of transport does the story say the visitors use to get to the moon? Oh, that's an interesting question. What mode of transport? Mode means type. What type of transport? So how do the visitors get to the moon? You may pause the video here if you'd like to have a go yourself and write the answer on your whiteboard. Okay, so let's go back and read the text again. Remember, it's all really important you go back and read to find the answers. After lunch, tourist spaceships start arriving from Earth. Also, if they're coming to the moon, that means they're coming in their spaceships. So they get from the Earth to the moon in their spaceship. Are we right? There we go. So he does somersaults, handstands, and especially high moon jumps. Sometimes he performs them as long as 2 hours and is quite out of. Name two activities that Bob does to entertain the tourists. You may pause the video if you would like to locate the answer. So what does he do? So he's performing, which means he's acting them out. It's for 2 hours. Well, the 2 hours doesn't tell us he's entertaining, so we need to go back to the beginning. So he does somersaults, handstands, and high moon jumps. He does 3 activities, but you only need to write 2 of them. Should we check what they are? Somersaults, handstands, and high moon jumps. Right, next question. What phrase, a group of words, tells you that the activities makes Bob tired? So a phrase is a group of words. Here, you're not looking for a whole sentence. You're just looking for some words that tells you that Bob is quite tired. So he does somersaults, handstands, and especially high moon jumps. Sometimes he performs as long as 2 hours and is left quite out of puff. If you'd like to have a go at this by yourself, you may pause the video. Now, with this one, we've got the phrase, let's change the pen. We've got the phrase, here we go, left quite out of puff. This means that when you've been doing exercise, do you know what happens to you when you've been in lots of exercise or you've been running for a really long time? It can be a little bit difficult to breathe, and you. So when you're out of puff, that means you're a little bit tired. So you could say, oh, if you've done maybe a lesson with Miss Eugen and you've been running around the field or the playground, say, oh, I'm quite out of puff, which means that you're tired. There we go. Left quite out of puff is the phrase that you needed to write down. There we go. Occasionally, the tourist spaceships will land on the moon. When they do, Bob gives them a guided tour and a speech. He tells them lots of facts, such as how many craters the moon has or how long it takes to walk around it on stilts. Our question is, the answer there, find the word that means the same as sometimes. Find the word that means the same as sometimes. Now, if I'm looking for a word, I will always think, does it mean the same? Okay, so I'm going to choose a word, land. Okay, spaceships will land on the moon. Now, land is also the earth that we have. Does land mean the same as sometimes? No, I don't think it does. So I wouldn't pop that one on there. If I choose the word walk, does walk mean the same as sometimes? A walk is the verb, so you're doing it with your legs. Do you do sometimes with your legs? No. So when you're looking for a word, you've got to think, does it mean the same? Does it mean the same as the word I'm looking for? If you'd like to have a go by yourself, you may pause the video. So we are looking for, find the word that means the word. Find the word that means the same as sometimes. It means sometimes. So would you choose moon? No, that's a noun. Sometimes it's when you do something not all the time. Occasionally, the tourist spaceships will land on the moon. The word we're looking for is occasionally. Occasionally, the tourist spaceships will sometimes land on the moon. We can also put the word in. Should we write the word in here sometimes? Sometimes. If you put the word in and you can see whether it makes sense, and it's a little bit tricky writing with the mouse pad. Here we go. Occasionally, the tourist spaceships will land on the moon. Sometimes the tourist spaceship will land on the moon. This makes sense, so I know occasionally is the right word. Two more questions, here we go. Sometimes people ask him about aliens and Bob explains patiently that there aren't any. Afterwards, Bob opens a small souvenir stand selling postcards, pencils, mugs and small plastic moon models. How do we know that Bob doesn't believe that aliens exist? Pause the video here if you would like to answer the question on your whiteboard by yourself. How do we know that Bob knows they don't exist? We need to look in the top part because this is where it talks about aliens. In the second paragraph, it talks about souvenir stands and postcards, so the answer is not going to be here. Let's go back and read. Sometimes people ask him about aliens and Bob explains patiently that there aren't any. How do we know this? He tells them that there aren't any. He explains it that there aren't any. Question 2. Which two of these does Bob sell to tourists? Does he sell models of the moon? Does he sell stamps? Does he sell pens? Or does he sell mugs? So the question's asking me which two of these. You may pause the video here and write two of the following that Bob sells to the tourists. So I'm going to go back up to the top and have a look. So he opens a souvenir stand selling, this is our key word, he sells postcards, he sells pencils, he sells mugs and small plastic moon models. I'm going to check, so which of these does he sell? Models of the moon. Models of, oh, here we go, look, models of the moon is there. So he sells models of the moon. I can choose A. Does he sell stamps? Postcards, pencils, mugs? No, he doesn't sell stamps. Does he sell pens? He sells postcards, pencils, mugs. Nope, he doesn't sell pens. Does he sell mugs? Let's have a look. Again, he sells postcards, pencils, mugs. There we go, he sells mugs. So Gaudi, when you're answering questions with a comprehension, you've always got to go back and check. See how many times I went back to read that second paragraph just to find the two answers. Should we check? There we go. Plastic moon models and mugs. Oh, and that's the end of our comprehension. Now, this weekend, this weekend, I'm going to do some reading. What are you going to read? I'm going to read a book that I read already. I'm going to read Michael Morpurgo's The Butterfly Line. This is my weekend reading to relax. What are you going to read? Maybe you could tell me on Tapestry what book you're going to read. I'm going to snuggle up with a nice hot chocolate and with Brucey on the sofa and read my book. I shall tell you on Monday how it was. Right, I shall see you on Monday.